What's up guys, hope you're doing great. It's your boy Copy Shots, and in today's video we are going to look at how I edited this image from looking like this to this. And this is by popular request. I've realized down in the comment section below, almost every time I upload any tutorial, or should I say a BTS of any photo shoot I've done, you guys request how I edited it, and perhaps, going through my color grading process, and this is what this video is all about. So let's get right into it without much ado. We are going to actually do this in Lightroom in tandem with Photoshop. That's how I do this dynamic link like that. I always color grade before I retouch the skin and further do some bit of color balances and all that. You're going to see that in anytime soon. So to start off, you're going to have this image, all right, and this particular photo shoot was done outdoor, and I used one flash. I have it behind the scenes. Check it out. It's going to be up there down the description as well. There's a link to how I took the pictures, and I explained how I used one light to actually take this wonderful image and a series of other photographs. So you can check it out if you care. But if you are here based on the fact that you want to know how I color grade, let us get started then. Also, down the description is a link to downloading the preset, the Lightroom preset that I'm going to be using for this particular tutorial. So you're going to find the ebony preset, which is going to look like this. I'm going to share with you the raw files, some that you can try your hands on to know that exactly what I'm doing is exactly what you also be doing. You can get good at that in color grading just like I do. So we're going to start off by opening up, of course, with the exposure. Because I'm versed with this preset, I always know how to light my images. So it's very important that you get your images right in camera, so that when it comes to the color grading aspect, you wouldn't have too much to do. Okay, so what we are going to be doing are minor tweaks, okay, to get the color to look like the end result, at least what you can see right now on the screen. Okay, so I'm going to be pushing colors here and there. Because I've done this before, I'll be a little bit fast, but you just try and follow my voice and you understand why I push certain things other than other things. Okay, so I'm going to work on the greens for now, where I'm going to change the yellows to turn them a little bit more towards the greens. And that's where you actually realize that the background is also looking from how it used to look when it was brownish this way, and now it looks better with the foliages and the color. All right, so not too much of the green towards that side. I'm going to push the yellows towards this side a little bit more, and you do realize that the skin looks a little bit too brownish for my liking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push in some reds in there, because with skin, it comprises of reds, oranges, and yellows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the orange towards the left side a little bit. All right, you realize that when it pushes way too much, you introduce a lot more magenta into it, but I'm going to keep it this way, subtlety like that. And with luminance, I'm going to open it up a little bit so I can increase how bright and conspicuous the color in the skin would be. But she still looks too red, and for that matter, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up there to the temperature and increase the yellows in there a little bit, slightly like that, so that it actually conforms with the background. Now I've noticed that my greens have too much yellows in them as well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tweak that as well, and probably push it towards the side a little bit more and reduce the saturation in the yellows. Not too much, just a little bit like that, just like so. You realize that the picture is actually creating some bit of separation where you can notice that the orange is way too much. So when I reduce it just a bit, it looks more natural now. Cool. So this is the first step into going into how I tweak with the presets that I just shared down there. You can still download it, all right, and try it out. So okay, now there's reds in here in the hair. It's actually her natural hair, as she said. So I wanted to have a little bit more punch to it, so that the lips as well also becomes conspicuous, but we can further enhance that during the Photoshop process. Okay, we're still in Lightroom. So I'm going to push in the reds a little bit, and you realize that it affects the skin tone just a bit, because Remember, there's yellows, browns, orange, and reds in the skin. So I would say that this is a good start or step in the right direction. You're going to import this result into Photoshop and further edit it and see how it turns out. So yeah, we are in Photoshop right now. And I have also down the description below the actions to frequency separation, because that's what we're going to use to even out the skin tones as well as, you know, the skin texture and all that. So we're going to use the simple frequency, and I'm going to hit on the play, and I'm going to choose a radius of, you know, somewhere around 3 or 2. Let's make it 2 because the detail of the skin is a little bit more, you know, further back. It's not an up close shot, so that should just do it. So at a low frequency, that's where we are going to even out the skin color. All right, so yes, with the help of the brush tool, particularly the mixer brush tool, we're going to even out the skin tones. All right, so I'm going to speed this process up in order not to bore you. All right, so at this point, you realize that the skin tone is all evened out, and the blemishes have all been taken out. I had to speed up this process. I actually have a video of that, particularly if you want to learn how I go about my frequency separation. You need to get yourself a graphic tablet, because initially I would use, or should I say before, I would use the mouse, but the mouse wasn't as accurate as a graphic tablet. So I do know that most of photographers use the mouse, but I don't know how you guys do it. But with the help of the, you know, the pen, you can apply pressure to any degree as you want, you know, brush with some subtlety and all to get a desired result. At least it works for me that way. Okay, so we are on to the next step, which is we're going to have to, you know, look at some certain details in there and try to fix them. So if I look at the pictures this way, what I notice is that I still have too much of the magenta in the picture overall. I don't know if you see it that way too, but that's what I see. Okay, so these are minor tweaks that are custom to my style. You can always go about in a different way if you wish. So I always use the color balance to work on this. All right, and we're going to use masking to select the areas where we want the effect to be applied. So starting from the shadows, I'm going to push towards the blues, all right, so that I take out most of the magenta from the image. And yeah, so the cyan and the blues a little bit. Cool, just like so. Then before, after, before, after. Okay, so I noticed that the environment looks bluish now. The dress she's wearing also looks, you know, towards the blues. Yeah, the dark checker costume she's wearing looks better now in my regard. Okay, so what we're going to do is, with the use of this mask, we're going to paint out the areas where we don't want the effect applied. So with the use of the brush to itself, okay, we're going to zoom in and we're going to mask out by hitting Shift and X to change the fill. Okay, so we're going to use the black on the white to pick out the areas we don't want the effect to be added. All right, so make sure that your opacity and your flow are there at 100%. That you can quickly do this depending on how much pressure you're giving to it. It also applies it. All right, so just like so. Then to the hand, you realize that the hand looks too bluish and looks quite dark if you compare it to the face. Okay, so it means that because the light was closest to her face, the hand didn't really get touched by the light as much. All right, so we are going to fix that in no time, the use of the mask as well, but this time with a different panel. Okay, so what we're going to use to fix the hand right now is we are going to work with either exposure or levels. I'll go levels and bring in some whites in there. Okay, like so, just for the hand, sure that it's opened up a little bit more. Then I'm going to hit Control I to invert it, then paint out with white, because this time around the effect is rather inverted, so it's black in there for the mask and I'm going to change this to the white to paint it out so that it comes out like so, just like so. Okay, this looks darker for the wristlets. So now it looks quite close to the exposure of the face and it looks much better. So let's back up and look at the image and see how far we've come. How do we look? All right, we don't look bad at all. I still notice something in here where you realize that the eyes look dark and they look like they need some brightening. So with the help of the hue and saturation panel, we're gonna select yellows and you're going to send the saturation all the way to the left and the lightness to the right extremely. All right, so that the eyes become more white, because definitely there are yellows in the eyes, as you can see. Let's zoom in a little further, and with the help of the brush, opacity 100, fluid 100, let's clean out. Cool, just like so, just like so. All right, so now it looks whiter, but that's way too much if you agree with me. So let's reduce opacity to a little bit, like somewhere around 65. Doesn't look bad, and that just serves us right. So we are going to further take out achromatic aberrations, and the achromatic aberrations are these purple lines that you see around the jewelry, around the black areas, and that's because, and I also notice a dead pixel in here, and that's all, you know, ascribed to the aperture size that we use, the depth of field. I use a very shallow depth of field in order to blur my background as much, to isolate my subject from the background. And so because of that, the shortcoming that you're going to find is that you're going to have achromatic aberrations, these fringes, these purple fringes as well. So let's take that out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to encapsulate every effect and every move we've made into one layer, and I'm going to hit Control Shift A on Windows. Actually on Mac is going to be Command Shift A. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way down to optics, and in the defringe I'm going to reduce the purple out. I don't know if you notice it. Let me zoom in. Just look at the fringes. If I push the purple this way, it takes it all out. Okay, so that's one way to fix that, and I think that's taken care of. It's taken care of. Okay, cool. Thank you. Look good. Cool. So right now what I think I need to do is to increase the brightness of the entire image. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit levels again, and I'm going to open up the exposure just a little bit, just like so. Okay, then I'm going to add some bit of contrast as well in the levels again. One more step, one more layer. Don't be scared to open up too many layers. I don't know, there's nothing such as too many layers unless you are the one who feels it's too much. All right, there's no one way towards achieving the desired results in photography. So yes, just like so. Now I'm going to add vibrance so I can selectively color out or color in the hair. So let's go to vibrance, and I'll increase the vibrance in there, just looking at the hair. All right, and of course it gets right. With the use of the mask, you're going to paint in the color. Opacity 100, flow 100 for quicker results. Make sure to paint into the face like that. If you do that, that's what happens. Okay, so increase a little bit those areas that I don't want, that clean them out. Then yes, let's reduce opacity just a little bit, and you're left with something like this. So what I'm going to further do, this is still a creative choice, is that I'm going to add another layer of the cyan slightly. Then I'll move into the highlights and add some yellow slightly and reds in there, not so much though. just a bit of it. Okay, and it looks something like this. And this is where we are. Started from that to this. Thank you very much for watching this video to the very end. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, turn on the post notification button, and I'm going to catch you next time, the next video. On the next video, have a wonderful day. See ya.